Here we go.
Welcome to Stirring the Pot with Lou Marconi and Johnny Cleveland, part of the Fanatical L's Network. Fans first. Join us now. Yeah. Well, it is Stirring the Pot.
Yes, we
Monday
are.
night.
Yes, we are. We got some pot to stir, that's for sure.
So much to dissect, and
there's a new allegation now. There's
a lot.
Goodness.
Well, there's Lou Marconi. I'm John Cichan. I'm Johnny Cleveland. And it's a night to discuss a lot that we saw. Man, Lou, how you doing tonight?
I'm actually better than I was last night. Let's just put it that way. Because last night I was still stewing over the loss and just felt horrible. Felt like felt like it was a wasted day. I was down. I was upset. Yeah, and I'm trying to digest this new allegation. But I'm seeing, I'm seeing a lot that's happening right now, and we got some things to break down on this and a lot to talk about. And I'm hoping people, hey man, feel free to comment during the show, say what you want, say what's on your mind. And I think, people that were at the game, like you and I were yesterday, you have every right to boo. You paid your money. You have every right to boo if you don't like what you saw.
I thought Myles Garrett's comment were spot on. I really appreciate what Myles said. I think that Myles Garrett has represented what we want to see as a Cleveland Browns fan, and he said the same thing you just said. This is
hey, we weren't playing. I mean, and you know what the thing was? The defense wasn't bad. Really, it wasn't bad at all. If you, we're going to break down the stats of this game.
Yeah.
And I remember just sitting there saying, because in my mind I was writing my article and I'm going, this isn't complimentary football because the offense has to produce, and they couldn't get a first down to save their lives in the first half. Because if you remember, the game started out, man, we got a quick 3-and-out. Dalvin Tomlinson had that big sack. Everything was looking good. Got that nice punt return, got a first down, got a long field goal. We took the lead, and
we did.
Boom.
No, that first couple drives, everything was working in our favor.
And guess who's joining us?
Rewatched it. Oh, there she is. Well, here you go, Sherry. I did. And I don't feel guilty about it. There was a lot of people surrounding in our section where we were in 544. It was a very interesting discussion amongst the fan base, especially as we got into that quarter and then the fourth quarter.
And you know what? If you're there, if I was in Dallas Stadium and my team was beating their ass, I'd be cheering too. So I mean, just it's like I said, shut them up, play better.
Right. Now, your experience, Mike, I'm interested in knowing what your experience was at the stadium. I was just going to share mine just for a brief second because, we were watching it like all of you.
We had a guy behind us. Sherry wasn't sitting with me. My friend Harvey was, and he was by himself. It looks like he was just by himself, and he was talking like he was commentating.
Yes.
And he was going into details about the sets and the defense that was set and the cover two. And we're kind of like, people around us were like, does he talk? Who's he talking to? Like, what's he doing?
Yeah.
And he was saying, "Oh, I would have called this," or Jerry Jeudy didn't catch this one ball,
right,
but he got blasted by the safety, and it was like, all right, but the guy's like, "Oh, he should have caught that." It's like, well, you go out there and take that hit.
Now, you just kind of maybe he was somewhere on the spectrum. We mentioned
because we almost said something because he was by himself, and the only thing we said was, "God, I hope he's not going to be at every game because it's going to be a long season. I don't want to listen to this."
Well, there were a plethora of Cowboys fans, especially
there was a lot
on their side of the field behind them. It was it was not a favorable atmosphere. At the beginning of the game, you didn't realize that there were so many Cowboys fans, but as the game got out of control, my wife and I, we were there and we took a break midway or early in that second quarter. they were down 14-3, and we thought we were kind of there. But then all that stuff happened.
Thank
We
you.
were actually, thank you, Mike, who
Michael
I
Davis. Yeah,
talked
yeah.
to. Yep,
And
yep.
I've been in touch with him. He's a pro
Awesome.
wrestling fan. So thanks.
We're excited to be contributing with you.
Yeah, reach out to
Michael.
me, Mike. We'll talk, man. We'll talk. I'd
Yeah.
love to do some wrestling stuff with you.
But we sat out there. Lou, my wife and I, we just kind of stared out at Lake Erie for a good 15-20 minutes and just tried to digest what was going on. And we could just hear
we were like, well, the guy behind us was like, yeah, you don't need preseason. But I turned around and I was like, the defense didn't play in the preseason.
yes.
Dak
Okay.
Prescott didn't play in the preseason. CD Lamb didn't.
Let's get into this, Lou, because I know I'm going to talk about it on some other shows. And I think Michael's having me on one of his shows tomorrow with the Dallas FS or the Fans First group. I'm looking forward to that.
Sure.
But in the meantime, but by the way, thank you again, everybody who's tuning into us, listening to us later on the X. I mean, on Apple, Spotify. We are part of Fans First Sports. We are the Fanatical Elves. Lou Marconi's amazing. He's great. You know, he's a former this, that, and the other thing. So, let me just talk. Okay, the whole conversation, but the whole conversation today. I mean, anywhere you listen to, even the national pundits, the media, and even though a lot of us local folks, we're all talking about Deshaun, and there's just this whole thing about what the hell is going on. And I just want to focus on Deshaun for right now. Yeah,
you want to focus, even though it was the offense as a whole played terrible. There's procedural penalties. It was sloppy play, bad offensive line. I mean, but putting that aside, it just looked like he wasn't ready, as well as the offense wasn't ready. And I think I did find out, today. I didn't know about this, but it might have been his estranged father passed away.
Yeah.
And a childhood friend and childhood teammate passed away too. So I'm not making excuses. And they even said, I think even every player said there was no excuses.
I talked about it on the post-game show too. And I mean, there's obviously those sorts of things that happen. We all know that. We've all experienced.
I lost a family member recently. I understand. It hurts. And it's hard to focus. I lost a close friend years ago to COVID, and I couldn't even function at work. It was just like it was so shocking. So I can understand.
And maybe that did play a part in what we're talking about today.
I think it was a combination of everything, because I think the offensive game plan wasn't there. I think the coaching wasn't there. I think just everything just seemed off. It just did not, like, something was wrong. And it wasn't just one guy or one person. So I'm not sure. And you know what? And Sherry, you're right. We are human first.
Not me. I'm robotic, Sherry.
I'm superhuman. Powered by. What am I powered by, Sherry?
By the way, let's give a shout out to Hemisphere Coffee Roasters. Yes. They shake the hand of the farmer, and they are a great group, Mechanicsburg, Ohio. You got to check their facility out. If you're here in the Columbus area, or Lou, if you're ever coming down here, you should stop in Mechanicsburg and check out their facility. It's really, really, really cool. And
Hemisphere Coffee Roasters, good stuff. Check it out. Hey, if you
don't
like energy drinks, drink coffee. If you don't like energy drinks, drink coffee.
Click on that link, and then you help us out. We get a 15% back as a group, so we appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, since we're here and doing this, you want to talk about? Did you want to focus more on Deshaun and his allegation, or do you want to focus on the stats from yesterday?
I want to focus on the stats. Here's the part. This part with Deshaun, I still think besides what we just talked about with his grieving.
You think he knew about the new lawsuit yesterday?
And we can talk about that here in a minute. I think that's all part of what I'm kind of getting at, and what other people are talking about nationally and locally. I just think that he's a shamble. I think that he's just all messed up mentally, and I don't think he's never going to be what we all were, or what the team was hoping for. And so now it's like, okay, now what do you do? And so, like Steve Gill, for example, our Dog Pound South colleague, he had his show earlier today. He was basically saying at the end of his show, and I agree with Steve, most of what he said today, but one of the things that he said, and I want your take on this, I guess now, is that he's basically said Deshaun is not going anywhere this year, next year, or through 2026 because we owe him all this money. But I'm saying there's no way in God's green earth that that's going to happen. There's no way. The Browns will just have to take the hit. And there's just no way. Unless Deshaun can somehow spin it and turn it around miraculously in the next season. I'll give him this season and maybe next, but that's it. And I don't see.
Well, if that final year, they could add void years to his contract and spread out the hit.
Yeah,
they could do that. I don't know. I'm not a capologist.
I'm giving him this year 3, and I'm giving him a little bit of next year. Year 4, you gave Baker 4 years, and then after that, I mean, people are so fed up. They think he's going to get benched. People are talking about him being benched. Now, I don't think that's going to happen.
No, I don't think that's going to happen. I think because the whole team was bad. It wasn't just him.
Sure.
Let me just look at the game as a whole too, holistically, because the whole team was bad. Total yards, team stats. Cowboys were at 265. The Cleveland Browns were at 230.
Yeah.
Passing yards, 163 for the Cowboys, 137 for the Browns. Rushing yards, 102 for the Cowboys, 93. Average yards per play average, 4.4 for the Cowboys, 3.3 for the Browns. Each team had 15 first downs. The Cowboys were 4 for 14 on third down efficiency. The Browns were 2 for 15. Yeesh. God, a lot of that.
Now, Lou, you can keep going through your stats here, but I heard a stat today that the Browns ran 70 plays and 30 of them did not gain a yard. That were 0 or less yardage.
That's possible. That's a lot. That plus also out of the 14 possessions that we're talking about here, they ran 70 plays, 60 plays total for the Cowboys. We allowed 6 sacks. 6.
Yes.
The Cowboys had 3 sacks given up in the first half. Punts, we had 7 punts. Cowboys had 6 punts.
Okay.
Penalties. This surprised me. Both teams had only 11 penalties.
Yeah.
And the Cowboys had 85 yards. The Browns had 64 yards. No teams had fumbles lost, but Deshaun threw 2 interceptions. And this is another stat that surprised me. The Browns had time of possession by 30 minutes, 54 seconds, and the Cowboys had 29 minutes, 6 seconds. So the stats don't. Yeah, the stats really, the 2 interceptions were big. The punt return for a touchdown was big.
Yes.
So that's right there. Like 1 interception and 1 punt return. That's about a 4-point difference, maybe even 13 point. That's about a 14-point difference there, maybe 17 pointers. So we lost by 16. So I mean, that's a lot.
The defense only gave up the 2 touchdowns, right? Statistically, they only gave up 2 touchdowns, correct?
Correct. And about 2 touchdowns. And
I mean, that first series, you were down. I don't know where your seats are. What section are you in again? You're in
503.
So you're on the other end from me. You're opposite of where I'm sitting.
Yeah.
So that first series, the the Cowboys had the ball, when they got in there and they sacked sacked Prescott. Because they were getting double teams on Garrett on the outside. Weren't you excited? Wasn't that awesome? Right.
That was awesome. The energy was there, and we got that field goal, and they drove down, and they made a couple really good plays. Because I saw that, like the one CD Lamb made a wonderful catch. That was
it was beautiful. Yes, and and the throw was right. I mean, he put that ball where only CD Lamb could get it. Denzel Ward was right there. And by the way, Denzel Ward, I mean, he did a good job, but damn it, he should have had at least one of those.
He should, because right after he dropped that interception, I think 2 plays later they scored the touchdown because we blitzed. We were right there. He just heaved it up. He heaved it. It was a prayer.
Talk about that play for a minute at the end. That blitz play, because they did bring the all-out blitz, and we got our guy back there,
Juan
Thornhill, who just he jumped toward Tolbert, and at that point, then the kid just went right back there.
Yeah. He ran underneath it and it just happened. I mean, it was just one of those that, stuff like that happens. These are, I mean, the Dallas Cowboys were a 12-5 team and the NFC East champions. And
excellent
they had a 5th ranked defense in the NFL too. So they were, this isn't the Carolina Panthers, guys. This isn't the Washington Commanders.
Sure.
So I mean, I'm not saying, now they did play worse on the road last year. If our offense played better in the first half, we would have still been in the game. If we would have just been able to get a couple first downs and give the defense a rest. The defense played a pretty good game. I think they played a good game.
They did. Yes, they did.
Yeah, and the game got away from them by the end of the half. By halftime, the game just got away from them, and it was just like, Jesus. It reminded me. Do you remember Kevin Stefanski's first game as a head
Yes,
coach?
yeah, I mentioned this on the post game show last night when I was recording it
Yeah.
about the Baltimore game. Yep. You want to talk about
Now,
that for a
yeah,
second?
yeah, because I remember everybody was ready to get rid of Baker, and everybody was giving up on the year, and that was it.
That was
We
the first game of Stefanski's career.
Yeah, and everybody was all done, and that was it. And I think we just kind of went on, kept plugging away, and
Yeah, they
next
won
thing you,
four. The next four games. I think it was.
yeah,
Yep,
anything could happen. So I mean, even Watson said this, like, "Hey, I went 0-4, and then we won 11 in a row in 18."
I
So
heard that. Yeah.
so I don't think he's going to go 0-4. I think I was looking at some of the stats with Jacksonville next week because Trevor
Yeah.
Lawrence only threw the
Uh-huh.
ball for 172 yards against Miami. I would expect the offense to. I think these guys, to show some pride, will play better.
Hmm.
I would hope that we have a better left tackle. I don't know if that was just that or if it's just they just needed to get out there and play. The only thing you can do is just get back to work and get out there and play.
Now I
See,
haven't. Yeah, let me ask you this on the offensive line. So I mean, early on, and I was there in attendance, but then I don't know about your experience. I did not. I'm a bad fan. We left a little early,
so did
uh,
we.
and um, which was
Everybody was leaving. Everybody was really like it was like a fire drill. Everybody's
right.
leaving.
And so we were all racing to Terminal Tower to get on the RTA to take us back while we were at the airport area out there. But
Yeah, I was heading the
what
other way. I was heading east to
yeah,
Green Road.
which hey, when you get in the Terminal Tower, when you do that, so you go on the other side, so you go the same, like, do you go down the Terminal Tower and then get on it
First,
there?
yeah,
Yeah, so
mhm.
you get in, so when you go down there, then you get on the, I guess,
The green or blue.
platform that goes the other
And it was
direction.
perfect. It was perfect timing because as soon as we got there, the green line was there, and it's like, oh, we ran.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Yeah. Yeah.
We didn't want to wait a half hour
What's
for
the
another
best
train.
way to go though? I tell you, other than the trains themselves being disgusting and falling apart, in many cases, and some
The
seats.
train wasn't bad. One, maybe
Well,
what do you
our
on the
seat,
red line?
our train had at least two or three seats that were actually gone. Like
Oh wow,
there was like
wow.
metal. It was like
Oh
people were
no,
like, "Yeah,
you got
don't
to
sit
take the east
there."
side trains. You got to take the east side trains. The east side ones are better. It wasn't that bad. That's Sherry. She rode with us. She's
Okay,
there. Yeah.
yeah,
Sherry and Matt did. Let me put it to you this way: the best way I go to Green Road because
yes,
the Green Road and
yeah.
Shaver
I
Oaks
think I've probably taken that before when my grandma. I
was fun.
think I told you she used to
I
live over
almost
there.
got into a fight with somebody. Not really. I'm on my way there, and I'm thinking red line is rough. That's what Sherry just said. The red line is rough. Yeah, it's a rough part of town there, John.
Oh,
So okay,
is that? So I was on the red line.
yeah, you're on the red line from the airport. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't
Any,
stop. Well, yeah.
anyway,
Okay.
no, I'm just saying because I'm driving to the game. They're meeting me at this
Yeah.
specific time, and I'm thinking, okay, I gave myself plenty of time, but I was 10 minutes delayed because there was a dog event in a park
Yeah.
and all this traffic, and I'm sitting there like, and these idiots that were directing traffic like never did it before, and I was held up, and I drove up to them. These are cops. I'm like, this is ridiculous. You guys know what you're doing? And they're like, yeah, it is. And I'm like, get
Yeah.
out of here.
What time do you get on the train when you get on the green line there?
Well, we met at noon, so we were
Oh,
like a
okay.
little
You
bit
got there
after
early
noon.
then. Okay.
Yeah, we got down early, and I was hanging out with some people.
You
Actually,
do
it was
any
really fun.
tailgating?
Yeah, yeah, we were at by the parking lot at City Hall there,
Yeah.
and there was a guy that had a Roku TV set up with a YouTube TV
Yeah.
with the Sunday ticket. So it was like 4 games on a TV, and
Oh
I
my
just sat
gosh.
there and I was watching. I'm
Really?
outside
Oh,
watching.
that's cool.
I was watching the Bengals Patriots. I was watching the Titans
Well,
Bears and the Steelers Falcons was
what do you
on that
think
one.
about all those games? So the other teams in the AFC North, does that give us hope?
It's here. It's early. I think.
Yeah.
Well, Cincinnati losing to New England surprised me.
Right?
And I think Joe Burrow looked, from what I've heard, he looked bad too.
Well, he
So,
looks bad with that hairdo too. My God, he looks stupid with the
yeah,
highlights, the blonde hair
yeah,
highlights. Dude, you look
yeah.
weird.
And then the Steelers, they played against Kirk Cousins, and the Steelers won, and of course the Chiefs against the Ravens drew the Chiefs the first week, so that was a tough on the road too.
Yeah, I
So
see. I don't see like they were talking. I think Steve Gill was talking about that this on his show about the other teams in the AFC North, and he wasn't very impressed with Baltimore. But I didn't think Baltimore played particularly that bad. I thought,
no, but the thing was is that Lamar Jackson's taken a lot of hits. Their offensive line's not that good, but then again, neither was ours. So
No, what about J.K.? Is it J.K. Dobbins? No, who was with the Ravens, who's now with the Chargers? Is that right?
I think so.
He had a pretty good game. Former AFC North Cincinnati Bengal Joe Mixon. Talk about another team, the Houston Texans, who we lost to in the playoffs a year ago. Now they got Joe Mixon, who went for like $150 on the ground. You add that with
just a score update.
Yeah.
Halftime. San Francisco 16, New York Jets 7.
I'm a little pissed about this because here's the deal, Lou, with this San Francisco Jets game. So I had the number one. I'm telling you, everybody, the world here. So my fantasy league guys over at my school, we had our draft last week, and you might remember this, but I got the number one draft pick, which was Christian McCaffrey, the running back.
He's hurt. Isn't he hurt?
He was hurt. So the deal is I was only down by 30 points going into tonight's game, and I had McCaffrey, I had Samuel or Samuel, the wide receiver.
Deebo Samuel,
yeah. So I had both those guys, and I was projected to win, but now I'm going to lose, and now I owe my guys donuts on Wednesday. I'm a little bit peeved. I guess that's what happens in fantasy. I know you don't play fantasy league football.
I'm not in fantasy land.
I wish these coaches and these teams would understand how important fantasy league football is to us. Okay, I digress. You're like, what the hell? What are you talking about?
No. It's cool. It's cool. No, it's cool. No, that's fine. Because let's shift
I'm
gears.
Wearing my Guardians stuff today. Did you?
Good for you. No Chicago White Sox gear.
I wonder how they're doing that. Are they winning or losing tonight? They better be winning. They're playing the White Sox, aren't they? Playing the Indians.
The Indians are playing the White Sox. The Cleveland baseball team.
You know, the Royals keep coming at them. They're 2.5 back.
Whatever.
Well,
let's see. Well, no, because I mean, let me just take a look here. I'm going to look at next week's schedule too.
Oh, we're winning. We're winning 5-0 in the bottom of the 7th.
All right, good.
That's good.
Okay, let's just kind of switch gears. I guess there's a couple of things that I'm hearing. Deshaun Watson got a new lawsuit filed at him today in Houston. This was supposedly happened in October of 2020. There's a 5-year statute of limitations. This is a civil matter. It's not criminal. She went to the cops. The cops couldn't do anything because there was no evidence.
Okay.
They couldn't do anything because there was no evidence.
Yep.
Based on her statement alone, she is claiming, okay, disclaimer, get the kids away.
Brief.
Okay. Brief. It's going to be brief about it. She claims that he came over her apartment for a date. She wasn't ready yet. You know, sometimes women take their time when it comes to getting ready. He was waiting and he was quiet. She was trying to say something to him from the bathroom while she was putting on her makeup.
This is all in the report that you read?
This is all in the report that I read. She came out of the bathroom and she was shocked that he was laying face down on her bed, completely nude.
Okay.
He tried to entice her and get her to massage his buttocks.
Okay.
And so she said she complied out of fear, but she massaged his back.
Okay.
And he was getting aggravated and he grabbed her thigh and brought her down. And supposedly he undressed her a little bit and forced himself on her.
Okay.
And actually penetrated her.
Okay.
That's the allegation.
Yeah. Serious.
And that's a very serious allegation. And that lasted for several minutes. He eventually got frustrated, and she said he got up and she grabbed something heavy and told him to leave, and forced him to leave, and that was it. So
yeah, tell us a little bit. So the lawsuit was brought on again by the same lawyer that's been part of the other lawsuits, but is this an old lawsuit that's been resurfaced, or is it a new?
Supposedly it's new, and I'm hearing different stories. I'm hearing one person say that, hey, this is new. Since it's new, he's not protected under that agreement. The league could suspend him, and if the league suspends him, the Browns could void the contract. Now, my understanding is if the Browns void the contract from another suspension, which is in the language, then they're free of all that cap space. But then I'm hearing from somebody else saying if they void the contract, they're going to get the cap hit anyway. So it's like, well, which that doesn't make sense because Then I heard from another person on Twitter. These are people on Twitter, but they're broadcasters, so I'm not sure what they know.
Sure.
Is that this isn't new, and since it falls under the protection of that because of the time period, so he
Yeah.
should be okay. Now, I don't know. I wasn't there. I don't know the facts.
Right.
That's all I'm going to say.
None
It's
of
like
us. Yeah.
none of us do. We don't know. I have two daughters. It's sad. It's disturbing, and I just there's a lot of allegations around this guy, and it's getting to the point where he's not only just even if he was playing well,
Sure.
I'm like, wait a second, this is getting out of hand.
Right.
We this we're getting this is a distraction. It's you got to get your shit together, pal. I mean,
Yeah.
seriously, this can't be coming up all the time. We're trying
So
to
if
win
anything
football.
comes up now, like if anything were to happen now,
Yeah,
that would
within
land
the
him a suspension. The
yeah,
Browns have the right in the contract from you understand to pull the plug and basically say goodbye.
avoid him. Bye.
Yeah.
See ya.
Yeah. Well, here's what's going to happen. That's going to happen. That's my bold prediction. However, they figure it out. I mean, I guess that's what the other part of this whole bigger picture, Lou, that we've talked about it, and you talked about it, at least as far as the franchise and the owner and all these things. We've been talking about the dome this summer and this fall, all these new shiny things that are coming down the pike. I guess I'm just like, who should we be really listening to? Who should we really be trusting? I listen to fans who are supporting all of some of this stuff. I listen to people that aren't, and I'm just like, and then I hear from younger fans like Noah, who does the East Bank Sports Show, and he made a good point to Jarrell earlier today. They were doing the East Bank show today, and Noah says, and Lou, you understand this probably. Noah says, I've been a fan for over 20 some years, and I've never seen the Browns get, past a certain point, because they were comparing how, like, Jarrell was bringing up points like, well, the Ravens, they won the Super Bowl. Well, he was basically saying Lamar with Baltimore has been, up and down, but would we still be, would we be booing Lamar? Or he was talking about Philadelphia struggling recently, but like Noah was saying things like, Philadelphia and Baltimore, they've won Super Bowls in the last decade and stuff. And we were basically talking about the fan base. I guess I'm just, do we have, like, Lou, you've talked about this on your shows.
Yeah. What are you asking me?
I guess my question is, do we have the right as fans to be just like in the doldrums and pissed off, and are we to blame for what's happening right now? Because some people may want to say that it's somehow we're connected to the problem, and that why this team will never be successful. And I'm like, us cheering or not cheering or booing for the team has nothing to do with how this team performs. I guess I just wanted your opinion all on that, all of this.
Well, I didn't give up at 0-16. I think a lot of people on this podcast listening, commenting, we just said somebody shed. Yeah, that's correct. They won't cut them. But if the contract is voided due to another suspension, there won't be a cap hit. That's my understanding. So that's what we're talking about. I didn't give up at 0-16. Okay. I didn't give up at 1-31. I didn't give up when the team was announcing the move, because I had a feeling we were going to be able to keep the team, and I was right. And I didn't give up in the early days of expansion, or for 20 years throughout expansion too, with all that. Why would I give up now? Now, if you want to give up, that's your choice. You're free. You're grown adults. You're a free person. I'm not going to, but let me say there's a but with this. When it comes to a specific player like a Deshaun Watson, with all this crap and all these distractions, at some point in time, you have to say enough is enough, and cut your losses and move on. When do they get there? I don't know. You're saying you're giving them until early next year, depending on these allegations.
I'm just saying that because I'm trying to be a happy-go-lucky fan. Honestly, you want my honest opinion right now, Lou? I'll tell you guys already know this.
I want you to fucking lie to me.
Right? No,
tell me the truth.
No, I'm telling you, Lou. Well, look, I'll root for Deshaun. I was rooting for him yesterday. Okay. But his performance on the field, and maybe it was all the other things that we've already talked about, was a distraction to him, but it was god awful. I mean, some of those passes that he was making to players were 5 or 10 yards over the heads of players, and the amount of time. Lou, there's a stat out there today about how much time he had, even though he was hit 17 times. He had like a lot of time compared to other quarterbacks in yesterday's games to find somebody. And he was missing wide receivers. And I guess I'm not going to bench him, but I want to get rid of him this year. Like get rid like if this team comes up sub 500, then they need to figure out some way to do something after this season.
Yeah, that's a lot to say right now. What if he plays good? I'm just saying. Let me just say.
Yeah,
I'm saying if there's another allegation and this is credible, he gets suspended again. Done.
Absolutely.
That's where I'm at.
Yeah.
Now his play on the field has to get better, and I think it will, because I mean that was probably especially the first half was the worst I could imagine. It's
36
just
yards passing in the first half.
Yeah.
Around 36.
Around 30, I think. Yeah, and then.
But I will say this: David Njoku's dropping that pass on second down early in the second quarter when they were kind of driving.
A lot of stuff was off.
Just a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it was just him. I'm not just saying that, but my thinking is that they have to be better. They have to get better. Other people's jobs are on the line, not just his. So it's time. And did you see the article that came out this morning that I wrote? It says no one cares. It says no one cares. Get better.
I did read that. No one cares,
because that where I got that idea from. Because I remember when I was competing as a bodybuilder and at the gym, there's signs everywhere says no one cares. Work harder.
Right.
No one cares. Work harder. Because that's the honest to God's truth. That's what they have to do.
Spot on.
That's it. And there's no excuses. I didn't hear excuses. From what I heard from Stefanski, from Watson, and from Garrett, I didn't. You know, your fans have a right to be upset. You're damn right we do, and we're gonna be.
Right.
We're gonna be. I just the thing that I was saying, like people say, well, Baker Mayfield did great. Well, yeah, he played against Washington.
Yeah.
So,
hey Lou, let's pause for a really quick. We haven't broke yet, so this is the Stirring the Pot with Lou Marconi and Johnny Cleveland. We'll be right back.
That's your fault.
All right, we're back because it's my fault we didn't take a break. But we're back from that break. All right, Lou. We were still talking about Deshaun, and everyone's talking about it, and people are fired up. They're pissed off. We got to move forward. We got Jacksonville on Sunday. You've done a little bit of looking at some stuff going in the next week already.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Hawk Tour reel that she sent me. Sherry sent me.
Oh gosh.
No, I'm just messing with you. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at some stats here. Okay, I'm just going to look at Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
12 completions on 21 attempts for 57%. Yep, 162 yards. 1 TD, was sacked 3 times.
Okay.
So no interceptions. Their run game was actually pretty good. With Bigsby and Intone Jr.
Yeah.
They had a combined of 120 yards.
And didn't he fumble? Jacksonville was going to go up in that game comfortably, and he fumbled the ball or had it stripped.
Yep. That was Intone Jr. Yep. Yeah. So, so those are two of them. Trevor Lawrence had 1 run. Duvernay had another run. So, I mean, they didn't really light it up against Miami.
No. Now, we played them a year ago, or last regular season toward the end. We won that game with, I think, Joe Flacco.
Correct.
As the quarterback that game. Do you see this as a must win?
That's tough to say. I would say
I don't think it's a must win.
Not necessarily.
They need to look better.
I want to say must improve. How about that? How
Yes.
about that? Because I mean, yeah, it's hard to say. Week 2, we got to win this. I would like to see them because then we come home, we have the Giants at
Mhm.
home, and that should be a curb stomp.
My
We should
son
just
Alec watched the Giants game too. He said, "That's just they're so bad." Like just after at least the first game, but
the Giants are not that good of a team. They said we got what he said. Okay, let's see if Watson doesn't perform next week, the Browns will have to release him
okay,
immediately
Mike.
and driven to there.
I know
Thanks,
Mike a
Mike.
little bit. Mike's a good guy.
Okay,
I think Mike's the same guy.
he could take the
Mike, are
red
you?
line. He could
You're
take
our
the red line
hockey.
to the airport from the stadium. They'll
Yeah,
send him. They'll send him the red
Mike's a great guy. He does commentary for some of the hockey teams, some of the minor league hockey games, and he's a big
Cool.
Browns fan.
Is he a
So
Monsters fan? Is he a Monsters fan?
no, he doesn't live here. He does. I'm trying. Mike, where do you? Are you still doing? If you are listening to us, oh, here you go. This is
No, that
oh,
was the old one.
Mike.
There he
If you're
is.
listening to us, yeah, tell us where you're. Where are you? Are you doing broadcast right now? Because I know he was before one of those minor league teams.
Oh, is he talking about Watson's fades?
Oh,
Chad.
okay.
Yeah. He was off. Nobody played well. He was off.
No. All right. So they got Jacksonville. It's not a must win. You and I
Mhm.
don't. We both agree that
It's a must improve. They got to do
yeah,
better. And I
yeah.
think the defense is going to show up. And
I think so too.
I
Yeah,
think the offense. Believe it or not, Jerome Ford actually had like in the first half.
yeah.
Let me pull up some stats here because Jerome Ford actually had a pretty decent game. That was one of the things that surprised me a
He had
little
a
bit.
few decent runs. There was the first one though was pretty standard where he goes
Yeah, there was a
east and
period of
west, and then
time. Yeah, he ended up like because he ended up running for 33 yards in the
what's
second
wrong with
half.
our offensive line and creating gaps? Is it because
I
we were
just
so used to having Nick Chubb who could
no,
just
because he's
get a
been gone
feel?
since week 2 last year. I don't know. I just it just did whatever whatever was going on, they were all off, including the line.
Mhm,
It got better because he ran for like 33 yards in the second half,
mhm.
and he popped off some pretty good runs, but it was he only had 12 rushes, and he was
Okay,
averaging 3.7 yards a carry. So
not horrible, but
not horrible, but not great either. It was serviceable. Now I
now that we
thought,
did have a nice run. Now on in the special team part of the game, we did give up the 60-yard punt return. I wanted to talk about was it Darden who was returning punts for us. That
yeah,
first punt that he returned was very nice. He
yeah,
actually took it back like 30 yards or whatever. And that was in that very beginning stages of the game where you kind of felt like Cleveland had a little bit of momentum.
yeah,
Um, and then it
yeah,
just yeah.
yeah. That was it. Like he had 5 punt returns, 14.4 yard average. The long one was 28. So, and Darden did pretty good on the kick returns too. So he averaging
Yeah,
24-yard kick returns. So, I mean, yeah, we have a good returner. So that's
yeah.
good. Let's see what he
By
said.
the way, we want to. Cade York didn't know if you saw this. He got cut
Yep. So we don't get a
today.
7th round pick. Oh, well.
11% making this. Okay, that is true, Steve. Only 11% make the playoffs starting 0-2. Understandable. We get. Yeah, I've
Yeah.
seen that stat before.
Let's talk about play calling. There we go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
2-yard passes when you need 10. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's blame
That
the
is
play calling.
classic. Yeah.
Yeah. That's just a tired argument. I don't do that. So
People will now. Do you think there's any chance still? That was the other question
he,
floating around today.
two-time coach of the year just forgot how to call plays. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, let me ask you this. Do you think because it was game one and there's just so much these guys everybody's putting into it that really it was just
Yeah.
there's just some things that just got out of hand. It really wasn't that ugly. I mean, it was an ugly game, obviously,
It
but
felt worse than what the actual stats said. It just felt worse.
right.
And I think it had to do with we were so excited and hyped up to open the season. We were expecting a lot, and it just was like, what the hell?
Well, Thornhill, the question there, Chad, watch
He
that
bit
game, watch that play on replay a few times just in the last hour. And what I
he
saw him do is that Thornhill bit on Tolbert, who was the outside receiver, and he took a step too far in, and what's his face was able to get over the Cooks was
Yeah.
just it was wide open because Thornhill made that move, and it's just that slight move in that game. I mean, he was wide open.
Yeah,
So
and Dak Prescott pretty much threw up a prayer, is what he did.
that was
Yeah.
it was a prayer, but that was a good play
It was a
by
good no, it was a
Prescott.
good play. It was
He
a good play
knew,
by
yeah,
Prescott. He knew where he was gonna be. He
it
figured that
was, yeah.
that was the shot. Now, could it have been if Thornhill was there, could it have been picked? Maybe.
Yeah. Oh, I'm not going to say, yeah, absolutely. If Thornhill played that differently, but he didn't. So it was
And 2 plays
props.
before that, what Denzel Ward had a ball hit him in the hands, and he should have
Oh,
caught
there
it.
was two of them. There was that one, and then in
Mhm,
the two or three two positions later,
mhm.
same damn thing. He cut in front of CD
Yeah,
Lamb. Oh, it was almost right there on the sideline.
yeah,
Could have been. CD
yeah.
Lamb is a very good player. I didn't realize that he had 1,700 yards receiving a
Yep,
year ago and 130 some catches. Like
yeah. Let's
shit.
let's see. Let me look at one other thing here. I wanna look at what Jacksonville gave up on the Dolphins.
So how do
Uh,
we win this game? I know it's early, but how do we win this game against Jacksonville? What's
I
obviously
got I got
Watson's got to play better.
I got a novel idea. I have a novel idea.
You
What
have
we're
a
gonna
novel
do.
idea.
Yes, I do. We're gonna score more than the other team. That's what we're gonna do. No, I think we win the game with our defense, and
Yeah,
I think we sometimes with the offense you just got to get the basics and do the basics to start. And I think
yeah.
I'm hoping that
The
whatever
Njoku is going to be out.
he's probably not going to play because I'm hearing
Yeah,
high ankle sprain, which is about 4 weeks.
that's like the horrible thing to hear, right? High ankle
Yeah,
sprain.
yeah.
I think Cooper's got to. He had 2 catches for 16 yards yesterday. He's got to get off the shot, get off and do some things in the warm weather
Jerry Judy
down
had a
there.
touchdown.
Yeah, it was a nice catch.
It was a
Right
nice
there. It
catch,
was,
and there's other plays when just like guys weren't getting
he's
open.
not a big guy, by the way. Jerry Judy's not a very big guy. He looks a lot like Moore. Well, who's the other? What's the other kid that we got? Moore, last name Elijah Moore.
Elijah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. It just seemed like just the offense as a whole was off, and it was just one of those. Let me just take a look here. I want to see how the Dolphins did. Let me look. Let me see if it'll tell me that. Okay, because well, check this out. 23 for 37, 338 yards was Tua Tagliova.
mm-hmm.
Let me see. They didn't run the ball much. They only ran the ball. They had two running backs for about a combined 50 yards, but then they had other ones like other smaller runs. So
Yeah,
they only ran the ball for 81 yards, but boy, they threw it and they scored 20 points. So
yeah, yeah. Well, I think the obviously the Browns will have an opportunity always in these games. It's gonna just we're just gonna be
yeah,
waiting to
I mean
see
it's in
how Deshaun reacts, how the offensive line. It was bad to see DeJuan Jones had a couple multiple motion penalties in that first quarter. That really
there was an illegal shift by Cooper. There was just stupid
right.
procedural penalties. Yeah, yeah, you got to stop the run in Jacksonville. That's correct, and I agree. I mean, let's see how this team responds.
Yeah.
Let's see the character of these people, including Watson, and let's see what the details of these allegations because technically it's her word against his. What happened?
Yeah.
Yeah, did I do that? Yeah,
No, I
yeah.
just did that.
Oh, okay.
I
Sorry.
just did
Okay. I was like, did I? All right. Anyway, but
that.
I just said I think the Browns can win the game. I
Yeah.
think this team has enough talent to win games. They did not play to the level of talent they have now. Is it that was it? We were arguing about preseason, this, that, and the other. Defense didn't play in the preseason. Other people didn't play. A lot of quarterbacks did not play great.
No, I was listening to Troy Aikman just earlier tonight talking about that too on the pregame of the Monday night
Yeah.
game, saying the same things that, outside of a few individual performances like Baker Mayfield, who threw for 4 touchdowns. By the way, I want to know how many games Baker made. Not that I know it should matter anymore because we're not supposed to be cheering for Baker. But I don't think Baker's had too many 4 touchdown games in his career.
No, I remember I was at the Lions game in 21 when Baker was hurt and he was still trying to play and he was limping all over the field and people were heckling him and booing him.
Yeah.
Those same people want him back. It's like, well, he's gone. I mean, it's like,
well, now I made the bold prediction. I still hold to it that Baker will come back and he will play for the Cleveland Browns, but it might be 5 or 6 years from now.
Okay. Well, it looks like the Jets are losing 23-7 to San Francisco halfway through the third quarter.
Okay. What do you think of Brock Purdy? Do you like him?
Yeah,
The young
yeah, I like
quarterback?
him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's doing well. Yeah. So I mean, people are crying. Like I said, it all depends on what happens with Watson. What's going on with this allegation? How does he respond to all this? What is he going to do? So it's
A
just tough.
lot.
And
It's been a
yeah,
lot.
it's been a lot, and it's been a lot for Browns fans. But we've been through worse, and we
We've
prefer.
been for yes, this is not the worst.
I would sit there and I would sit there, yeah, and like listen to any other fans say, go through what we went through over the last 30 years.
Yes.
Go through
I
what
guess
we
that's
went
what
through.
I guess that's what I was getting at, trying to get at earlier with our colleague Jarrell Flint. Great stuff, Dog Food Radio. He was, texting. I know you weren't part of all those texts, and then he was talking to Noah on a show. But just this general idea, like he was trying to say that Browns fans don't, or they're always negative, and they're always,
That's
not.
everywhere.
And
That's
I'm
everywhere.
like, and that's what we were like. Noah and I were trying to say, like, it's everywhere, and we've had good seasons, and it's not like we're running these players off from Cleveland. That's not the fans' fault. It's not our fault. Like, we have a right to cheer or boo, like we talked about at the very
Yeah.
beginning of the show.
Well,
So
there was nothing positive really out of the game. I mean, there wasn't a whole lot positive out of the game
no,
yesterday.
no,
And I just said, like I said, the thing that always threw me off when I traveled as a wrestler, there were so many, how can I put it? Like times I've listened in other markets, just I kind of want to hear the sports talking,
yeah,
and it's the same. It's the same. You wouldn't
yeah.
believe it. It's the exact
Hey,
same.
thanks, Mike. He liked my comment the best.
What's that?
Appreciate you, Mike. I don't know what I just said, but thanks, Mike.
That's right. We're all negative. What was that? I said, and she says, I believe the D will show up strong on Sunday. Major wake up call yesterday. Oh, okay.
Well, I think it was an embarrassing moment, and I listening to most of the players, I do think that they will take what happened to
And
heart.
and pick up and move on. And
Oh yeah,
well, hypothetically, just
yeah.
speaking in complete hyperbole, what if Watson lights it up? What if he has
Oh,
a good game?
that's great. I mean, I'll be cheering as loud as anybody and saying, "Way to
I'll be
go,
glad.
Watson!"
Yeah, way to go. We did it. Yeah, Barrett, thank you. It's like,
Do it
thank you.
again. You get come back and
He
do it again against the
consistently do
Giants.
that. Yeah.
It's got to be. I mean, in his position, he already. I mean, I'm going to give the kid some, like, he's a smart kid. He's playing in front of a market where he knows that he's been given $230 million. That's got to be like, put it this way, Lou. What if this was reversed, and what if somebody like Baker Mayfield, right,
Mhm.
was, in the somehow we traded for Baker Mayfield and we gave him $230 million. I want to know how would he react? How would these other quarterbacks react? And I heard a lot of national people today, on various shows from Fox to ESPN, basically saying that Deshaun is done. He's like toast, and I'm just like, okay, I kind of leaning that way, but I don't want to give up on him yet. And we're fans, and we're gonna cheer for our Browns, and we're gonna cheer for Deshaun because he's
Mm,
part of our
we're
team. I don't
yeah.
know. I just think, like, if you give a kid $230 million,
Mhm.
and you have a fan base, millions of Browns fans worldwide following you. You have a stadium every Sunday filled, ready to see you, to perform. Oh man, that's like you're on the biggest stage of, yesterday. I think just he laid a huge egg, and hopefully he can turn it around.
Let's hope. That's all we can do. I mean, we're gonna tune in. We'll be back here next Monday, and we're
What do you
gonna
got
see what
going on
happens.
this week? You got a lot of shows. I got some shows coming up. What do you got?
I've got the Stewcast Wednesday afternoon with Corey Castle. We're talking pro wrestling. Going to do and I got the Sunday Stew Pot next Sunday,
Mhm.
and of course Friday night with the Burning River Browns talk.
Yes,
All brought by Hemisphere Coffee Roasters. Check it out. Links on the show
Michael
description.
Michael Davis. Are you doing a show with him eventually? Are you going to do some crossings with?
We text each other. He actually said he looked me up, And actually, there's
Yes.
an interesting story.
I
I won't.
told him to, Lou. I said, we were doing our show, and I said, Michael, you need to look up Lou. And then he was like looking him up and was like, man, look at that Wikipedia page. I'm like, yeah,
Yes,
that's
I
like,
didn't. I had nothing to do with that. I don't
well, that
know.
was all on me, Lou.
I had
I was promoting you.
Well, there's a story. I'm going to tell a quick. I want to end the show. I want to tell a story when I was wrestling, and sometimes allegations pop up. One, there was a. I was. This was back in the late '90s during the message board era,
Yeah.
and there was somebody popped up on the indie wrestling message board claiming to be a 16-year-old girl that I tried to take back to my hotel room in Pittsburgh.
Okay.
And I immediately responded because I said, one, I didn't have a hotel room in Pittsburgh. I drove back to Cleveland that night. I have the receipts from the tolls and gas to prove it because I kept it for tax purposes.
Sure.
And I had friends with me.
Yeah.
So that's not true. I don't know who you are.
Right.
I have no idea who you are. When I just completely squashed that.
Mhm.
Also, before that, there was I was about to I wrestled in Butler, Pennsylvania, actually the same fairgrounds where Trump was shot
Yeah.
on 4th of July in '99, and
Yeah.
there was a show that was coming up in the following month. It was a benefit show for referee Mark Curtis, who was dying of cancer,
Mhm.
and his real name was Brian. And he, there was a benefit show, and all these wrestlers were getting all this. So I went to the guy that was running the show because he ran that one. I said, "Hey, let me know if you need me. I got to go overseas. I'll call you when I get back." So I had people that were around me that were taking care of stuff.
Mhm.
And I went overseas. I went to Saipan in Guam, and I
Yeah.
came back 2 weeks later. And I called him. I said, "Hey, what's going on with the show? Yeah, did you need me?" Where he goes, "Oh no, the card's filled." I said, "That's cool. I got other stuff going on." He goes, I said, I don't need a payday or anything." "Oh, there's no pay." I said, "That's fine. It's cool. Don't worry about it." Well, it turns out a few weeks later, rumors were flying that I refused to do the show unless I got paid,
Mm.
which wasn't
Yeah.
true
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah.
And the people that were around me that were supposed to set up that booking to begin with, that
Yeah.
didn't do their job,
Yeah.
didn't say anything to me about it, didn't do
Mm.
anything to me about it, which was complete bullshit.
Right.
It taught me a lesson. It taught me
Yeah.
like sometimes you detach yourself from people, and I completely did that, and I straightened out everything, and I had to
Yeah.
do that. But there were still fans online that were pretty much shitting on me and saying I
Right.
was this and I was that, even though I said it wasn't true. I'm fine. I'm working for
Yeah.
this guy. Everything's good. They didn't want to believe it. They were believing the worst about me. So they were calling me the
Yeah.
superstar. They were calling me the superstar.
Yeah.
They're calling me the superstar. So I said, okay. So I changed up my gimmick a little bit. My ring entrance music became Jesus Christ Superstar. Dun, dun, dun,
Yeah.
dun. So but
Yeah.
when I presented the idea to the promoters, Doug Flex loved it. He's
Yeah.
one guy I worked for, and the other one was Jim Miller, who was Catholic, and he was like worried. And I said, "Look, I'll do it. I'll grab the mic and I'll say your superstar is here." So I'm not saying I'm
Yeah.
Jesus. I'm saying I'm a superstar.
Right. Yeah.
And I said, if one person complains, we'll stop it. We'll
Yeah.
just stop it completely.
Yeah.
Nobody did. We did it.
Yeah.
And it got over like gangbusters. So what I did, my whole point was, is I took a huge negative and made it into a positive because I was like, you're not going to convince people.
Sure.
You're not going to. So I just said, all right, I'm going to troll you. I'm going to troll you and I'm going to get better.
I think a player, and I think currently, bring your stories, and those are really good. I really appreciate you sharing that because I think that really puts some context to some of the things that we
and you
see
detach
and
yourself from toxicity. And it was a lesson that I learned because I said, wow, you guys were supposed to be my friends.
Well, I think about other situations, like on the football field and stuff. Okay, I'm just very 15 seconds. Myles Garrett, the whole throwing the helmet, the Pittsburgh whole spiel that happened, he got suspended.
Yeah.
And then now you listen to him now, and I just think to myself, like, that's what Myles Garrett, I feel, is a really good example of someone who has grown up in the league and has matured and stuff. And I'm not saying Deshaun Watson hasn't, but it's interesting to see how certain players, and based on their personality types probably too, react. And I think Deshaun is just one of those guys that's probably quiet. He doesn't say a lot. And then all this other stuff that's been going on, it's got to be hard. So, and he was dealing with a lot.
I remember how just the hurt I felt when that happened.
Yeah.
And I thought these people were my friends. I thought
at the beginning of the game, I saw a highlight. There was a moment where they panned the sideline and Deshaun looked really engaged talking to Amari Cooper, animated and stuff. I was watching the game on the replay here.
Yeah.
And it seemed like he was really engaged. But then I saw some other videos that people were sharing later, which I didn't see because I was at the game, but showing him,
Antonio didn't want to pick him up.
Yeah, and then dejected, and you heard different things. Yeah, so I just, you know,
I think that could have been more frustration because the day was horrible for everybody.
right.
And even though in the second half they scored 14 points and they went from having 47 yards to like 230 yards. So they had
Yeah.
190 yards of offense
Yeah.
with 14 points in the second half, which is fine. I
Yeah.
mean, it made it respectable a
Sure.
little bit, but it was just not. It was unacceptable. It's
So
just
we're gonna have a
completely
better game on Sunday.
well, boy,
Lou,
yeah, can't be worse.
it's always good to chat and visit forever because we are
I got more
stirring the
wrestling
pot.
story. I got more wrestling stories.
Well,
Let
we
me
look forward to hearing you later this
hold on,
week.
hold
Oh,
on.
we got
What's
another
this?
comment. Yes,
And
he
squash
did
that.
squash it. But now let me ask you, like, okay, you got to finish this up here. But Steve, I agree with you to an extent, but I also like he was very quick to do that, and he's not there, and we don't know exactly what happened there. We see a video.
Kadarius Toney was signed to our practice squad, Chad.
Oh, interesting.
Yes, he was signed to our practice squad. I'm going to do an article about it tomorrow, as well as the new Watson allegations. I'm posting out 2 articles a day, guys.
All right, Lou, we better go.
I love you guys. Thank you.
Go Brownies. Thanks for all
Go
the
Browns.
comments. Yeah.
Thank
You guys
thank
are
you. We appreciate each and every
amazing.
one of you. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Fanatical Elves, great network, great people. And go Browns. We're going to be back next week, and we're not going anywhere, and neither are the Browns. And I think as long as Watson's allegations aren't credible, he's sticking around for a couple more years. So can't go anywhere.
Go Browns.
Go Browns.
Go Browns. Here we go. Here we go. See you, Lou.
Night.
And I think the Indians win tonight. Indians win.